putting the time aside to attend this amazing webinar on being mindful in the midst of a chaos. So I'm going to switch off my camera so I can go through the slide.
Didier, you are muted. I think you've muted instead of switching off your camera. We can't hear you. You're still muted.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. This is the trick with camera, with the technology. Okay, let me switch off my camera. And then let me know. Can you see the slide before I start? Can you see the slide?
Yes.
We can.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put it on full, how do you call it? Full whatever. So today we're talking about being mindful in the midst of a chaos. Okay? Chaos are things that happen to us sometimes for which we don't have control. And one of the chaos last year was the COVID-19. COVID-19 hit all of us. We were not prepared. We didn't have a playbook on how we're going to handle COVID, but we managed to handle COVID. We are now in 2021, still learning on what tricks to apply, what is the thinking that we need to have for us to be able to navigate this crisis. Now, everyday life has a lot of challenges. Let's shift the way you cope and the way I cope with challenges, because challenges are part of life. And unfortunately, some people think that, they can live their life without challenges. Challenges, unfortunately, are part of our life. Each one of us has a host of stress that we deal with. At work, I hear often Candy saying, my line manager, she's giving me a hard time. So at home, we do have challenges. We do have stress in our relationship and also in our head, because the beauty here is whatever challenge we have, yes, it happened on the physical stream, but it starts with the head, because the way we look at things, our perception of situation and challenges always either make it worse or make it better. So today's webinar will help you to consider new ways to handle the stress that you get from a chaotic situation or a challenging situation in a mentally healthy way with mindfulness and self-care. And I'm sure you've probably heard about the terms mindfulness and self-care. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is defined as the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. Self-care is the regulatory function which is under each individual, which allow them to make a deliberate decision. And I'll give an example. Mindfulness is usually like an awareness. When you are aware that this behavior or whatever circumstances always trigger something in me, then you are mindful, because you know that if I face this situation, this is going to lead me to react in a certain way. Now, self-care is the way you decide to handle each different chaotic situation or each different challenging situation that you face. So you develop a coping mechanism, okay? So make mental health as much of a priority as physical health. Last week, I think on Saturday, I was attending a webinar where they were talking about the brain revolution. And one of the things that the guy says, he says, you must fall in love with your brain the same way you fall in love with your body. Reason being, your brain determines how you feel and everything that happens in your physical body. And you know very well, so whether you know it or not, most of the disease that we develop start with our thinking. And yes, unfortunately, the mind is so powerful. But unfortunately, most people choose to love the body more than the brain. So the guy was saying you must fall in love with your brain. You must always look at your brain, how you can make it healthy. And it was a doctor. So I really enjoy what he was saying. So when it comes to being aware and in control of your mental health, mindfulness and self-care go hand in hand. Before you start taking steps to control the way your mind reacts to chaos and difficult situations, it's important to learn how to be conscious of the chaos and how it affects you. Then you can take measure to mend or redirect your cognitive process. Now, historically, we haven't, as a society, been taught to give our mental health the attention it deserves because of the conditioning, the way we have been taught from a younger age. We have never been told that we need to pay more attention into what is going into our brain. But of course, the people who did not taught us, because they were not also taught that you must pay attention to what is going on in your mind, because whatever going on in your mind determine the result and how you feel in your body. Okay. Now, one thing that I want to point out, because I took some notes here about this particular slide. Last year, we were hit with COVID-19 hit all of us. But if you look carefully on the schooling program, how many schools have actually developed specific program to teach kids to handle chaotic situation when they grow up? Because the reality is COVID has hit. Yes, we really mourn many people who have passed on. Really, I mean, it hurts. But the reality is COVID is actually a trigger point for the schooling system and even the parents to start teaching kids that life is not always rosy. Try to instill to kids the coping mechanism when they face chaotic situation. And I haven't seen any schooling system. I mean, I see my kids, they go to school every day, but I
Sorry,
haven't heard them. Yes.
sorry, Didier. Someone is trying to have access.
Oh, okay. Okay, just hold on. Let me stop my slide. Let's see. You are presenting, but I don't see anyone. Who's that? I see number 4. Yeah, no, I don't see anyone.
It's Amber.
Amber. Let me
Yeah.
see. But I don't see her. You know, when usually you request to come in, I will see you requesting and I will approve, but I don't see her. So I don't know. Ask her to try again because I don't see her, honestly.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Well, maybe I can. I don't know if I can share mine with her. I don't know.
No, but she can just send it because she got the invite from me. So she just have to click on the link, then I can allow her to come in the session.
Okay, I've sent her the details. I'll let you know in case
Okay,
she struggles again. Sorry.
okay, okay. But normally, since we started, she should be able to, just get in the session when she click on the link. Yeah, normally. But anyway, let me just go back to my slide. Okay. Can you see my slide?
Um,
Yes, we
let
can.
me see.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was just going back to what I was saying. So many schools program have not yet adjusted to teach kids how to be able to handle challenging and chaotic situation when they grow up, because that is very important. All these things, we only learn them when we either start a job. That's where we learn how to manage chaotic situation. But I think there need to be a special program in the different grade where they can teach kids how to manage those type of situation. You cannot fix a problem that doesn't belong to you. That's true. Now, what does it mean? It is essential here to differentiate between a problem and a fact of life. What is a problem? A problem is usually something for which you can find a solution. But, and usually a problem is temporary. And a fact of life, it's something that you can't change. You can't change your siblings. You can't change your face. Well, you can go for an operation, but I'm saying in reality, everything around your body, you can't change it because that's the way you were made. So that is a fact of life. Now, we have to be mindful of the fact that everyone has problems. Whether one is the richest person like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, they do have their problem and challenges. Now, the question here is, what is your perspective when you face a problem? How do you see a problem? Is it something that helps you to grow or something that shrink you? Now, let me share 8 observations about a problem. And I got it from John Maxwell, my mentor. First observation, problems are everywhere. Everyone has them. No matter where you go, you will find problems. Now, if you don't have a job without aggravation, then you don't have a job. When they hire you for a job, they hire you because of your ability to solve problems. And most of the time, people forget that because they nicely put on their CV, I am solution driven, I can do this, but that's the reality. Whatever you're going to work, whatever you're setting up your own business, you must be able to solve problems. So problems are everywhere. Second observation, problems do not disappear if you ignore them. Ignoring problems will not make them disappear. Now, the measure of your success is, do you still have the same problem that you had last year? Because when you have a problem last year and you did not solve the problem, you must look at ways this year how you can solve it. Third observation, problem tend to lose a correct perspective when they are not your problem. Reason being, when you have a problem that affects you, you will always look at it as a minor problem. When the same problem affects someone else, it becomes a major problem. The fourth observation, perspective of the problem determine our success or failure. There is a right perspective and a wrong perspective when you face a problem.
Sorry, Didier. She's just sent a screenshot. She is trying to get through.
She's trying to get through.
It's actually showing that you'll be
Okay,
allowed to join the meeting once someone lets you in.
okay. Let me quickly go and check.
Sorry, Monia.
Oh,
It's fine, no problem.
I still cannot see her. You see, because the only way I can allow her is if I can see her hanging somewhere. You know, like when you click on the link, I can see you, Candy, and then I say allow. I still don't see her.
I've just sent you the screenshot on your phone, so I don't
Mm.
know. And she says she's
Oh,
using. Sorry,
mm.
did you send it to her via Gmail?
I send it via Gmail. Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask her to send me the email address, and I sent from my side, maybe to work.
Mm.
I don't
Is
know.
he connecting to Google Meet or Zoom?
But it shouldn't be a problem because Chanda she's got Yahoo and she jumped on the call. So I don't know. I really don't understand. Maybe it's because we already started the session. Maybe that's a reason. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's carry on. So I was saying, whether you have, what is your perspective when you face problem? Now, there is either a wrong or a right perspective. If you don't know the size of your problem, but if you don't know the size of your problem, you need to know your perspective. Now, when you face a problem, the right perspective always shows this way. You look at the problem and you believe that it's solvable. You believe that a problem is temporary. And you understand that a problem is part of life. And you understand that a problem makes you better. And you understand also that a problem challenge you and stretch you. Now, for someone who has a wrong perspective of a problem, he will look at a problem that this problem cannot be solved, so it's unsolvable. This problem is permanent, and it takes away his hope, because if somebody look at a problem as permanent, he will not even have entertained the idea of having hope. Now, he look at a problem as a problem is not part of life. I am just, I am just this person who always get all these problems. So, and then you become bitter. And then when you become bitter, you become the person who always keep playing the victim. Now, the fifth observation about a problem is problem respond to correctly advance us forward. Meaning, if we respond correctly to the problem, we make advancement in our life. Problems are a good opportunity for us to grow. Problems are there to throw and drive us forward. Problems never leave us the same. You have never seen a person who had a problem who remained the same. The sixth observation, the size of the person is more important than the problem. How big are you to your problem? If you fall into peace and do not tackle your problem, then you show weakness. Seventh observation, a problem is something that you can do something about. A fact of life, you cannot do anything about it. Then the eighth observation, when you make small plan, expect small problems. I repeat that. When you make small plan, expect small problem. When you make big plan, expect big problem. The size of your problem will correspond with your potential. Very little potential, very little problem. So whether we were born into family with difficult people, or we found ourselves with people who are just not easy to deal with, and I know most of you can relate to that, or we have friends that are really difficult, you know it's challenging to know how to best respond to those type of people who bring negativity and unhappiness in our lives. One of the first things you can do is realize that the behavior being presented to you or reflected at you are not your fault. It's somebody else's fault. The way that others cope with their feelings is part of their mental health and is not a reflection of who you are. Consider how differently two people will react when a glass is broken. One may get aggravated, and the other person can pick the pieces of the glass and move on. So it all depends on the way we see things. Distance yourself from those who bring more pain than joy. One of the most important aspects of being mindful in the midst of a chaos is taking measures to eliminate as much of the chaos as possible. Oftentimes, the source of chaos and negativity come from the people we choose to surround ourselves with. While we can't control every interaction we have, when it comes to our regular interaction, it is our job to develop firm and clear boundaries about what we will and won't tolerate. Whether it's a gossiping coworker or overly critical family member or a toxic romantic relationship, eliminating interaction with people who bring down your good energy will leave room for more positive energy to enter. The first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment you first find yourself. That is a quote from Mark Kane. It is vital to note that Dr. David McClelland of Harvard University has discovered that the people with whom you habitually associate are called your reference group, and these people determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. King Solomon of Israel wrote, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for company of fools suffer harm." And Jim Rohn asserted that we become the combined average of the 5 people we hang around the most. And I'm glad that I have you, Candy, and Munya in this in this webinar, because we spend a great deal of time on the law of environment when we study John Maxwell, the John Maxwell book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. He spent an entire chapter explaining why you need to be careful about the people that you surround yourself with and the things that you get yourself exposed to. So the next slide talk about break up with friends who don't support you. Yes, we need friends in our lives. We need people that we can share our challenges and our wins, but you have to be very careful about the friends, the people that you allow to enter into your space. Not all friendships are meant to last forever, and that is fine. While you shouldn't casually discard friendship over minor argument or inconveniences, because sometimes when I talk about minor argument, sometimes your friend may have a different perspective about a problem that is different from what you think. So that doesn't mean that that person doesn't become your friend. So you should grant yourself permission to move on from relationship that no longer nourish and support you. If somebody keep dragging you down, you have to make a deliberate decision. That person should no longer be your friend. Because the more you allow that person in your space, you will keep having the same feeling. So you need to make a decision. If you feel exhausted just by the idea of hanging out with someone, it's probably a sign that you should move on. I have understand this rule very well. When I meet someone and I know that there are people that God sent in our life for a specific period, those people are there for a specific assignment. So I don't hang on a relationship when I can see that there is nothing that I can share with that person anymore, because our points of interest are different. So therefore, I need to move on. Take the space you need from toxic family member. Friends are hard to part ways with, but with family member, it's even harder, because family member are facts of life. You can't decide who is your brother and who is your sister. So they are there, unfortunately. So one of the best recommendations you can do is to set limits on the amount of time you wish to spend interacting with toxic people. Make sure to keep any conversation positive, pleasant, and focus on that person. What I mean by that is, hold on, I think she's there. Just see, because I heard something. I think she's there. Yeah, now she's there. Okay, perfect.
You had sent the wrong invitation, Didier, for the 29th.
For the 29.
Yes, that's why she couldn't get in. I only saw it. She sent it to me as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, because I recall sending her for this one, honestly. But anyway, hello, Hamba. How are you?
Hi, finally.
Apology. It seems like I've sent you the wrong invite.
I can hardly hear.
You can hardly hear. But I can hear
Yes,
you. Can you hear me now?
let me get some earphones.
Yeah. I think if you can get some earphones.
I'm in a meeting.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. But Candy, can you hear me? You and Munya?
Yes, very loud and clear.
Yeah. So I think she just needs to get some earphones. So what I was saying about family members, since you can't change your family member, it's a fact of life. The best recommendation, you reduce the amount of time that you need to spend with those people and try to focus the conversation toward them. Try to see, and I always think, always try to see the good on people who always have this negative attitude, because by you having those thoughts, you're also helping them to change. So by keeping the focus of conversation on them, You are purposefully keeping yourself safe from unwanted drama while maintaining the relationship, if that's what you want to do. So focus on them and keep the conversation short. We are all different in our path, meaning Candy, Munia, or Amber, based on your level of awareness, we see things differently. So you have a relationship with everyone you have had an interaction with. Anyone that you come across with, you have a relationship. That relationship can last just a moment, a lifetime, or anything in between. In each relationship, you cross paths and learn from one another. And since each of us are different, I have different paths, you might only be walking side by side for a little while. You also might cross paths later on. Understand that throughout life, there will be many people who you meet, love, and learn from, and that ultimately you play a role in determining how long you walk along a certain path. And I will add to that since people walk in different paths, you have to learn to understand and value people, because valuing people is an important element to also understand that this person may not be at the same level of awareness as me. And when we talk about valuing people, we need to understand that valuing people, it's just based on the golden rule. Treat other the way you will expect those people to treat you. Don't value people based on what you're going to get from them. Don't value people because they've done something to you. Just value people on the basis that they are just human beings. And from that perspective, they deserve respect, they deserve your attention, they deserve your understanding. Learning to say no, it's another tactic to avoid chaotic situation. In order to cut down on chaos in your life, you've got to make it a priority to keep your plate filled with the right amount of work that your mental health can handle. Many times this means learning how to say no. I've met many people who have a challenge to say no, especially in the workplace. I mean, when people dump stuff on them, they cannot say no because they feel like I'm going to frustrate this person by saying no. But no is very important, because when you say no to somebody, it means you're saying yes to the things that you want. And I think this is very important. Learn to say no. If somebody wants to ask you to do something that is not aligned with your goal, your purpose, learn to say politely, no, I am not going to do it. It can look on the outside like a good business venture that is proposing to you, but you need to look at it and say, well, this is not aligned with my goal and my purpose. And I found many times that when people come and ask you to help them in an area that has nothing to do with your purpose and goal, usually those things never materialize, because they waste your time and they never materialize into monetary value or something like that. Second one, how to exit social situations that are stressing you out. We have all sat through awkward and draining interaction. Yet the line between being polite and saving yourself from the stress of saying too long can be a difficult one to draw. You sit with somebody who is judgmental, somebody who just use words that are, we can say, racist, or someone who just is just not have the good vibe, is negative by nature. You must be able to pull yourself out from that conversation. You must say, sorry, excuse me, I have other things to do. Have that courage to say that I am going to do something else now. Because I honestly, I mean, that I think it's over the years that I've spent now, when I found myself in a conversation that is not aligned with what I expect. And especially when I sit with people, because there's 2 points here. You can be in a conversation where people are sharing their perspective. That is different. We're discussing a topic where everyone gives his perspective, which is fun because everyone is learning from each other. But there are conversations that sometimes are not really productive. So you must be able to excuse yourself after 5 minutes. If you realize that this conversation is not heading anywhere, you must always ask yourself, is this the best use of my time right now? Surround yourself with people who support you. I think on the law of environment, we spoke a lot about it in John Maxwell book, but I think it's good to remind you about some few stuff. Okay, so for many of us, it can feel as though there is no one who fit into this category, meaning you don't have in your mind someone that you can surround yourself with who support you. You know, then the question is, if you cannot find someone in your inner cycle, then today with COVID, we've now been exposed to, you know, the digital platform. Then look, there are many groups. I mean, I belong to 4, 5, 6 groups on Facebook. People who have a growth mindset, people who have a different discussion going on, people who want to grow, people who are there to support each other. So you need to find those type of environment and people who can help you in your journey. Because remember, we want to grow. We have been made for more in life, not for us to live an average life. So therefore, you need to find the people who are also aligned with your goal, your purpose. And those people usually display the following qualities. They love you unconditionally. They desire your success. They are mature and they will help you when you need help. The most significant factor in any person's environment is the people. If you change nothing else in your life for the better, than that, you have increased your chance of success tenfold. So think long and hard about who you are spending the most time with. Wherever they are headed, so are you. And we spoke about it. We say you are the combined average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So be careful of who you're spending time with. The other tactic is create space that bring you calmness. For example, if you ever watch a home makeover show, you know how much a physical space can impact mental well-being. You know, if you sit in a room that is in a mess, that definitely will have an impact on your mental well-being. But if you sit in a room that is clean, everything is put in order, you feel different. Good energy with positive reminder. Put nice, like stuff in your room, things that bring that positive energy. You can see from the picture, welcome home, happy place. You know, it's so important to keep having those things. And I think the most important part with having those kind of picture in your room or in your house, it's because we work through image. We think through image as human beings. So when we see an image of happiness or a word of happiness, it triggers something in our mind. Generate positivity by spreading compliments. And that is also a very good way to create a positive vibe in you. Learn to give people compliments. When you see somebody that is dressed up nicely, learn to say, oh, my friend, you may not know that person, but just go out of your way and say, well, you dress nicely. You know why? Because that person may have been dressing for something when trying to go for a date, and he hasn't heard anyone who met him giving him that compliment. So giving people compliment is good, because giving people compliment also go back. It's going also to trigger people to reciprocate the same. And this is the law of cause and effect. Whatever you put in, you get it. If you have the habit of greeting people, people will greet you back as well. Well, I mean, there may be people who may be having this, challenge, but usually Usually when you show kindness to people, they always reciprocate. And you also teach a lesson to someone who's not kind to learn to be kind. Check how you think about others. That is very important. How do you think about others? It's always based on your perspective. What is your perspective? What do you think of that person? Because usually we make judgment quickly on people based on our perception. Yes, somebody may have hurt you in the past. He may have said something that really hurt you. But again, when that person say whatever he said, there were probably his level of awareness or whatever he did. There may be a reason, but okay, it hurt you. But next time when that person tried to be kind with you, just change and look at that person as someone who's now seeing things differently. Because it's like if somebody hurt you and then the next day you come and say, okay, Candy or Munya, can we go out for a coffee? Now, immediately you start thinking, oh, if this person take me for a coffee, maybe there is something behind the scene that you want to achieve. No, also understand that maybe sometimes people may have a bad day. So try to see the way you see people, your perception is very important. Try to see the good on anyone, in anyone. Try to learn and cultivate that habit of seeing the good in people. Check in with how you speak about yourself. That I like, because this is the running conversation that you are having with yourself every day. And that conversation may either be a good or a bad one. Now, on this part, I would like to read. I've got some few principles that John Maxwell shared in his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And then he says the following: whether you know it or not, we have a running conversation with ourselves all the time. What is the nature of our conversation? Do you encourage yourself? Do you criticize yourself? If we are in a positive state of mind, then we help to create a positive self-image. Because remember, anytime you talk about yourself, I'm dumb, I am stupid, that's the image that you're creating about you. That's going to impact the way you feel about yourself. And the way you feel about yourself will determine your level of confidence. And when you are negative, you undermine your self-worth. So he says, we therefore understand that if we want to change our lives, we have to change the way we think of ourselves. If we want to change the way we think of ourselves, we need to change the way we talk to ourselves. And the older we are, the more responsible we are for how we think, talk, and believe. And then he says, I like that. Don't you have enough problem in your life already? Why add to them by discouraging yourself every time when you have negative self-talk? Look at yourself as a highest God's creature. You are made for more. Whatever you're going through life, everyone has problems. Just like we say at the beginning of this webinar, everyone got problems. You are not exempted. Only the dead people don't have problems. As long as you still breathe, you will have problems. But you must believe that you were made to resolve those problems and learn from those problems. You need to learn to become your own encourager, your own cheerleader. Every time you do a good job, don't just let it pass. Give yourself a compliment. Use your breath as a tool to solve chaotic or stresses, because I think the breathing technique, I'm not the first one who's sharing this. Most people say when you are facing a chaotic situation, a challenge, take a deep breath, because it helps you, to relax and feel much better. So learn as much. I may not know exactly how you do it, but if you check on YouTube, there must be plenty of videos about, how do you breathe? How do you allow yourself to remain calm when you face stress by the breathing technique that you try. Yoga for your mental health. Now, exercise is the best way that can help you to handle or any kind of stress or chaotic situation. And I mean, I use exercise. Exercise for me is the best way to remove any kind of stress. But then they also advise for those who like yoga. Yoga is also a best way to help you feeling relaxed. So you can also look at exploring yoga. I don't know if some of you have tried, but I've never tried. But it seems sound like it's something that can help you to reduce your level of stress. Finding outlets for stress and anxiety. Find something that serves as an outlet to focus your mind in the present moment that you can turn to when you are feeling stressed. For example, you can decide to go and cook, you can go for a walk, you can decide to do a craft, or petting a cat, whatever you can do that will help you to relax and feel more in control. Give yourself time to feel your feelings. And that is important because whatever you're going through, if it's a chaotic situation, take the time to reflect because reflection always brings insight. When you reflect on a chaotic situation, you also look at it and say and learn from it. And from there, you can determine how you want to be, more controlling your thought and what you can do to be able to manage your feelings in a much more effective way. And I always advise people to use questions like, depending on the situation that you face, what would I love? What would I love right now? Do I want to feel miserable? Do I want to feel hopeless? You have to ask those questions. What would I like? What would I want? Get yourself in a mental state where you become emotionally involved with what you would love and want. Remember, you have been gifted with the ability to choose your thought, which ultimately result into the way you feel. And the way you feel determine the way you act. And the way you act determine the result that you get in your life. Now, the next one is journaling. Have a gratitude journal. A gratitude journal is very important because just by simply writing down things that you are grateful for, put you in a different state of mind. Because when you write stuff, I do it every morning. I write down, I am happy and grateful now that my kids are healthy, my wife is healthy, because small things like that keep you in a state of mind where you feel hopeful and positive about your future. Because you need that. You have to remember that whatever chaotic situation you face, whatever challenge you face, you need to acknowledge that you are alive today. And there are so many good things that happen to you today. So be grateful. But the only way to do that, write down in your gratitude journal every day 5, 6 things for which you are grateful. It's going to help you to keep the right perspective and be positive. Get to know yourself. Many people don't know themselves because they don't take time alone to reflect and look at themselves honestly and see what needs to change. Because the change only happens once you become aware that there is something wrong with me. I need to change. This behavior of mine doesn't produce the expected result. And I think that is the end of our webinar today. And I'm so glad that we managed to go through those slides. Thank you very much. And I'm opening up now for questions. Whoever got a question can just go ahead.
Thank you, Didier. No question from my side. It was clear.
Okay. Candy, Amba?
Yeah, it was also very clear for me. I enjoyed it because it actually looked at a lot of areas that sort of focus on self first before you look at somebody else. So I found that extremely useful. Yeah. The breathing
Okay.
part. I don't know about yoga. I tried yoga once and I was just so hopeless at it. But
Okay.
yeah, the breathing part, I like that. I also appreciated the, you know, looking at the positiveness, in others in a situation before you react. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was really helpful, especially in these times that we are in. It was helpful.
Okay. Amber, do you have any question? Because I know you jumped late, but I don't know. Do you have any question on this topic? You're on mute. Amber, can you hear me?
Sorry, are you hearing?
I was
I
asking,
was asking,
do you have any
do you
question?
have any question?
Maybe Didier, you
Maybe
can enter
Didier, you can
presentation
enter
because you're echoing.
because you're echoing.
It's 12:15
Okay.
p.m.
Okay.
To hear your notifications, follow the notification in your phone to turn on notification access.
Okay. Anyway, I
Okay.
think she
Anyway,
made
I think she made
she doesn't have
she doesn't
questions,
have
so we will
questions,
end
so
this
we will end
webinar.
this webinar.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you very much.
attending.
Didier, you are echoing. You need to end your presentation, your slides, because we can hear you echoing.
Okay. What I'm trying to see what the slide has to do with me echoing.
Aren't you using two different? It shows that there are two DDAs there. Are you
No.
using? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, now it's better. Okay, cool.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All
So I
right,
was
can
saying
you hear
since
me now?
yes, we can. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed it. I'm not very familiar with webinars. Is it not interactive?
Well, what I usually do, I present and then I
Hmm.
open up for questions because otherwise, you know, I have slides that I need to go through, but that's why I open up
Right.
for questions. People can ask questions on different slides that I've gone through. Yeah.
Oh, and I suppose it would make it very long if people were to comment after each slide.
Well, what you can do, there's a comments section, so you can put your question there when I'm talking. Then after that, I can pick up and look at the comment and then answer each question. Because I know
That
sometimes your thought process, you may lose exactly what you were thinking about, but writing down your question on the section, then it's easy for me to look and say, okay, you had this question, so let me address it.
also you may be so get so much information before you're actually able to express a thought, but that can be solved by just jotting down your thoughts as you go along. I
Mhm.
appreciated your presentation. I mean, I recognize my every flaw and strength in it. And yeah, I thought it was very useful. I would have loved to be in a forum of discussing each point, but I love to chat, so that's just me.
Mhm. Well, what we do, we have what we call a mastermind group that we meet on Thursday. I think next week we're going to discuss the chapter on persistence. So in the mastermind group, usually people are expected to read the chapter before we meet so we can discuss. Because I don't want to be the person who do the talking. So I expect people to read the material and then we can come and share. What is our perspective? What did we learn by reading the chapter?
Yes, that would be excellent.
Yeah. So I'm going to share because I think next week we have I don't know if I share the invite with you. We're going to discuss. Have you read the Think and Grow Rich book?
Say that again.
Have you read the Think and Grow Rich book from Napoleon Hill. Have you read that book? Think and Grow Rich.
I have never even heard of it.
Okay, so I'm going to share I will send you the book, the electronic copy. So you can read the chapter on persistence. Because basically, let me just give you a summary. Napoleon Hill wrote the 13 principle about wealth. Okay, Napoleon Hill was instructed by a guy called Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie was pretty much like Jeff Bezos today. He was the billionaire at the time, I think in the 1800 something. So he commissioned Napoleon Hill to write the book. I think it was no beginning of the 19. He asked Napoleon Hill to write a book on the principle of wealth and success, because he was so concerned that many people were going through life without knowing what they need to do to acquire wealth. Now, Napoleon Hill spent 25 years of his life interviewing 500 millionaires. And from there, he wrote the principle of wealth in the book called Think and Grow Rich. It's a great book. So I'm going to share it with you so you can read the chapter on persistence.
Okay, you made a reference to a book by John Maxwell. Could you remind me the title of that book?
That is the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
15 Invaluable Laws of Growth.
Laws of Growth. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I don't know if anyone got a question, but we can end this webinar because I suppose you guys have something that you need to do now. Any question, any comment, or closing remark?
No, thanks, Didier. Thanks. It went well. So thanks and enjoy your evening.
Okay, thank you, Candy.
Yeah, from my side. Oh, so we're doing Think and Grow Rich next week. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
On it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh my God.
I know you don't like Think and Grow Rich, but we need to finish.
It's no, I will read it. I will read it before before next week Thursday. Yeah.
Okay.
I will.
Perfect. No, that's good.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Amber, for joining the call. So I'll send you the invite for next week. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Amber. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.